Good morning, all. Am I audible? Good. Good morning. So again, I welcome you on Amit Gohel's online reading club. And today we are starting with another book of Dr. Prafull Vijayakar, sir, Genetic Materia Medica. Good morning, all. Before starting, we are going with the prayer.
भेद भाव अपने दिल से साफ कर सके, दोस्तों से भूल हो तो माफ कर सके, झूठ से बचे रहे, सच कदम भरे, खुद को जय करे, हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मुश्किलें पड़े तो हम पर इतना कर्म कर, साथ दे तो धर्म का, चले तो धर्म पर, खुद पे हौसला रहे, बदी से ना डरे, दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद को जय करे, हमको मन की शक्ति देना।
Good morning, all. I'm giving tribute to our great master, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, for his wonderful divine science and taught us dare to be wise. Seeking blessings from our Guru, Dr. Prafull Vijayakar, sir, who truly understood this divine science and made it easy for us to make homeopathy easy like mathematics. Jai Hanuman, Jai Homeopathy, Om Vijayakarai Namah. So friends, we are starting today with the new book learning, that is the Genetic Materia Medica by Dr. Prafull Vijayakar, sir. Before we are reading this Genetic Materia Medica, we take the blessing from Samuel Hahnemann and the wisdom of Organon of Medicine, 6th editions. So, in the last week of our reading of theory of acute group, we have concluded certain aphorism. So, to continue this aphorism, And then we further go into understanding and reading of genetic materia medica. So starting with the further aphorism from the Organon of Medicine, aphorism number 142. In 141 aphorism footnote, it was found that our medicines, when it is proved on the patients, and then it produces certain symptoms. So this medicines is also acting on the immune system, and that immune system becomes so much so resistant to the disease process. And then we have understood that our medicines are very helpful in preventing and prophylactic. So this is what our master Hahnemann has given us the idea that homeopathic medicine can boost the immunity, modify the immunity, and make the persons healthy. So, in further continuation of this, the aphorism number 142. But how some symptoms of a simple medicines employed for a curative purpose can be distinguished among the symptoms of original malady, even in disease, especially in those of the chronic character that usually remain unaltered, is subject appertaining to the higher art of the judgment and must be felt left exclusively to the master in the observation. So in the footnote number 104, it was written that symptom which during the whole course of the disease might have been observed only a long time previously or a never before, consequently a new one belonging to the medicine. So this is what you have to understand when you are proving certain medicines, and after the course of that proving time, you find a certain symptom which is not there or not because of the disease, it is the symptoms of the medicines only. So you have to take into consideration and you have to put that symptoms into materia medica as the symptoms of the medicine. Aphorism number 143. If we have thus tested on the healthy individual a considerable number of the simple medicines and carefully and faithfully registered all the disease ailment and the symptoms they are capable of developing as the artificial disease producers, then only have we a true materia medica, that is materia medica pura, a collection of the real, pure, reliable modes of actions of the simple medicinal substance, a volume of the book of nature, wherein is recorded a considerable array of peculiar changes of the health and the symptoms, ascertainable to belong to each of the powerful medicines as they were revealed to the attentions of the observer, in which the likeness of the homeopathic disease ailment of many natural diseases to be hereafter cured by them as present, which in a word contain an artificial morbid state that furnish for the similar natural morbid state the only true homeopathic, that is to say, specific therapeutic instrument for effecting their certain and permanent cure. So in this aphorism, what master has given us idea that when you have carefully experiment everything and faithfully written that symptoms into a record book, and that record book is called as a true materia medica. And when you find that true materia medica, and when you have these symptoms, so you have to observe and write into it. And then when the patient having complained with the disease process, so that symptom has to be observed from this book and apply the law of similia, and that is called a specific therapeutic instrument for effecting their certain and permanent cure. In footnote number 105, what Master Hahnemann has said that in footnote number 105, latterly it has been habit to entrust the proving of medicine to unknown person at a distance who were paid for their work and the information so obtained was printed. But by so doing, the work which is of all others and most important, which is to form the basis of the only true healing art, and which demands the greatest moral certainty and trustworthiness, seems to me I regret to say to become doubtful and uncertain in its result and to lose all value. So Hahnemann has also warned us that the proving which is proved on a distant person. So Hahnemann has not uh, what we called as get the information right, and what the prover has given information, that is what right. So Hanuman said is that I regret to say it become a doubtful and uncertain in its result and to lose all value. So that is what it is, our moral duty and moral certainty and trustworthiness, that we have to write and prove the remedy and write the original symptoms, not the conjectures and everything. So in further aphorism, what Master telling us from such a materia medica, everything that is conjectural, all that is mere assertions or imaginary should be strictly excluded. So that is what Master Hanuman is warning us, that everything which you have made a conjectural and have some assertions, mere assertions based on the empiric way or based on certain things or some imaginary things, it is strictly excluded. Everything should be of a pure language of the nature, carefully and honestly interrogated. So that is what the Master Suleiman has warned us also, and give us the idea that everything should be carefully and honestly interrogated from the prover. Aphorism number 145 says that of a truth, it is only by a very considerable store of medicines accurately known in respect of this their pure mode of action in altering the health of the man, that we can place in a position to discover a homeopathic remedy, a suitable artificial curative morbid analog for each of the infinitely numerous morbid states in the nature for every malady in the world. And lastly, Hanuman, thanks to that in the meantime, even now, thanks to the truthful character of the symptoms and to the abundance of the disease ailment, which every one of the powerful medicinal substance has already shown in its actions on a healthy body. But a few diseases remain for which a tolerably suitable homeopathic remedy may not be met with amongst those now proved as to their pure actions, which, without much disturbances, restore health in a gentle, sure, and permanent manner. Infinitely, that means results are very, very sure and infinite, infinitely more surely and safely than can be effected by all the general composite remedies, which do but alter and aggravate but cannot cure chronic disease, and rather retard than promote recovery from acute disease and frequently endanger the life. So what Master Hanuman is telling in this aphorism, that I am thankful to all the remedy which was proved in a pure way, but some medicine which is not covering certain disease part, and on the basis of certain symptoms, the medicine has been given to that patient for the cure of that. So sometimes it can affect only on the acute state, or sometimes it can alter the state and aggravate and cannot cure the chronic disease, rather than it's retard, that means suppress, or sometimes it cannot go to the what we call as recover state, or sometimes it endanger to life, that means the miasm has been shifted to higher version and may patient land up with the syphilitic state. So this is what you have to understand. But what it was Master Hanuman said in 106 aphorism, footnote number 106, that if we apply these rules in a proper way, and if we know that our medicine has been proved on the pure effect, then our experiment, or then which we called as the we our healing art, will come near to the mathematical science in certainty. So that means what Dr. Vijayakar sir has found here, that homeopathy is mathematics based on the observations of Master Hahnemann, that Hahnemann has himself told about, that if we apply this law of drug dynamizations to the patients in finding out the remedy from the pure symptoms, and that the science become the mathematical science in certainty. So this is what the wisdom of drug proving and understanding the medicines from our organon of medicine. So these are the few aphorism number one not from aphorism from 105 to 145. These are the aphorism to understand the medicines, the knowledge of the medicinal power and the pathogenetic pure power of medicine. So this we have concluded here, and then we are further going towards the understanding and reading of our genetic material. So by looking into this, you can see that the the cover page of this book suggests you that it is called a genetic materia medica, it is called trimiasmatic materia medica, and what Dr. Vijayakar sir has write that homeopathy is mathematics. That means that our medicines and our science is nothing but it is a mathematical science in certainty, and what Dr. Master Hahnemann was wanted to convey us. So, how we have to understand this genetics and trimismatic materia medica. So, we are starting with this book reading, but I will give you a few idea about this that what Vijayakar sir understood and why this materia medica has been created. So, we are dealing with the patient, and the patient is a what we call as the individual. So, individual is made up of the what we call as a system. System is made up of the organ. Organ is made up of the tissue, and tissue is made up of the cells, and cells is controlling by our chromosomes and genes. So gene has some expressions to such a way, and that expressions in the forms of anatomical, that means the structural part, and the forms of functional part, which we call as, and also that structure gives rise to the anatomy, the body, and the functions gives rise to, or the humerus gives rise to a mental part. So considering the mind and body combo, and to understand the defense mechanism, what Dr. Prafull Vijayakar understood in terms of the cellular mechanism as a defense mechanism in terms of miasm. So when we understanding any remedy in terms of the tri-miasmatic view, considering the will, the physical, the moral, the thermal, the speed, the sensitivity, the intellect, the urges and the attachment and emotions, and the genetic process of a defense mechanism of particular medicine. Then and then we apply this knowledge to the individual, and then this is called as a genetic materia medica. And that is why Dr. Prafull Vijayakar said that if you apply the knowledge of genetics into homeopathy, then homeopathy becomes mathematics. So we are reading these books and continuing this with this process. So we are starting with this book. So by reading any of the book, I must refer all of you that you must read the acknowledgement and the preface of this book so that we can understand that how the person has created the idea, and that idea has to be applied into our practice by understanding the methodology what the person convey to the world. So that is what Dr. Vijay sir has conveyed a methodology about the homeopathy is mathematics, so that we are starting with the understanding of this genetic materia medica. So this book is dedicated to Sir's father, Dr. Gajanan Vijayakar sir. So again, as I am starting any of the book, I must read the acknowledgement and the preface so that we can understand what the book convey to all of us. So acknowledgement, the greatest discovery made by a man in electricity. Some say, some claim it is the wheel. Some say that the discovery of a vehicle that transform into airplane and a rocket will be the greatest discovery. And still there are some who says that the production and the use of the nuclear energy is the greatest discovery. How should one pause which is the greatest discovery in the world? Let us see miasmatically. So most of the discoveries that have contributed to the comfort, luxury, and the recreations of the man are the product of the psychosis. Discoveries that push man beyond the naturalness to anything that is used for the destructions of the life, either a self or the other, or to anything that contributes to the shortening of the life on the earth, or the destructions of the value, or the destruction of the behavior, or a destruction of the life, perversion, distortion, etc., are the product of the civics. So any discovery that contributes man's health should be most important discovery, and any discovery or invention that contribute to the survival of the man is contribute to the soul. So we have also the miasm in discovery also. So people who have contributed the large scale destructions are remembered. Model who walk the ramp for the beauty contest and admire actors who play false roles on the celluloids in Hollywood and Bollywood are worshipped as the demigods. The politicians who fill in their pockets rules for selfish means and make countries and communities fight against each other are treated as kings. But all these, whether actor, minister, model, or the territories, belong to the pageants of the man. If man survives, he will play those above mentioned roles. Contribution to the survival and the health should be the top priorities. But in this mad and mad world, a doctor is remembered only when one's life is threatened. The moment danger to life is gone, the doctor is forgotten. A beautiful advertisement by some pharmacy which published some poster and addressing the patient read like this: if you get well, you praise the Lord. If you don't, you blame the doctor. So this is what true words. So a doctor's value is known only to the people who face death and that too for a limited time when the patient is sick. Amongst these doctors, also there is a psoriatic doctor, psychotic doctor, and the syphilitic doctor. So everywhere you have to look for the miasm. Among them, the Soric therapy is the homeopathic given to us by the great master Dr. Hahnemann. He taught us how to keep a man healthy without killing a poor bacteria or a virus or by just making the already existing immune system healthy. He showed us how by just a small stimulus we can reverse the process that caused the disease. All the disease a man suffers from are certainly due to three processes of the defense at the genetic level and which Dr. Hahnemann named as miasm. This is the greatest ever discovery by any living being on this earth since life began. It also supersedes the discovery of the wheel. This greatest discovery has never been understood and will never be understood by a man who today is a slave of psychosis, comforts, and artificialities, and syphilis, the destructive tendency. Thus, before I begin this book or any of my seminars, I first remember and pray my gratitudes, and that too from the bottom of my heart to this great man, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. The other master to whom I would like to salute are Dr. Constantine Herring and Dr. Bonnie Goodsens. These were perhaps the only two who understood the Hahnemann to the core. Dr. Hahnemann discovered the law of homeopathy similia similibus curantum, but you could call it as a rediscovery because old record shows a similar law existed. But the greatest understanding that he provided to us was the genetic inheritance. In aphorism number 81, it is written that the infective agent passes through the several sub-generations, and that is what Master Hahnemann has written everything in terms of philosophy about the genetic inheritance. And then there are three miasms, the genetic defense process, which is also mentioned in aphorism number 74 as the cause of disease. After this, he advocated that these processes are to be treated and reversed if one has to get wonderful results. The law of reversal or a direction of cure was understood more comprehensively by Dr. Constantine Herring only. It is only with this compass provided by him that one knows whether a homeopath is just making a symptoms disappear or whether he is curing as per our master's advice, that is to restore the sick to health completely. Walking on the road that was suggested by Herrings about law of direction of the cure, I was able to further his laid down law and give it an embryological base in the form of seven layer of separation. Bonnie Hussain had understood Hahnemann the best. He saw the immense possibility in this science, and his literature has taught me that if the disease is not cured, it is not homeopathy that fails, but it is the homeopath who fails. From him, I learned sky is the limit. For this genetic basis on the nature's law of healing, from him I understood the meaning of genetic constitutional minimum, his proposal that was contradicted by many, for example, generalizations of particular, if seen in the light of genetics and a modern science proposed, uh, La Hahnemann, that a person can suffer or show certain symptoms only if his genes permit it. For example, he has a genetic tendency toward it. This helped me to advance further the scope of homeopathy mentioned in our literature to see some mind-boggling result in genetic mutational cases like Lake syndrome, Down syndrome, Krebs disease, autism, cerebral palsy, deafness, blind, resulting in starting of gem core foundations, the genetic mutation correlation. To Kent, I owe my result in psychotic cases, but Boningussens and Boger, I owe my fantastic and unbelievable result in syphilitic cases. So this is what how Dr. Vijayakar understood the masters that in psychotic cases you need to understand and refer the Kent, whereas in syphilitic cases you need to understand the Boningussens and Boger so that you can get wonderful result in this case. Next to those doyen of homeopathy, I would like to acknowledge the contributions of my inimitable father, Dr. Gajanan Vijayakar. He has always been like a friend, philosopher, and guide to me. He gave me in my childhood the freedom of thoughts and action that allow me to bloom in my natural way. His guidance to me in his allopathic clinic led me to acquire an immense treasure of his 60 years of experience as a doctor, and which helped me to understand man's behavior and therefore homeopathy so well. First of all, Dr. Vijayakar says that hats off to his patience and understanding self that never ever curbed me or my desire by any domination. To my mother, I owe my knowledge of mathematics and English, and I will always be indebted to her for her guidance. My elder sister Pratima, educated in the science of botany, helped me in understanding the anatomy and physiology of primitive life between plants. Younger brother Dr. Pradeep, an allopath turned homeopath, has joined hand with me to propagate predictive homeopathy. He has in turn given me a predictive homeopathy three very enthusiastic visitors in the form of Dr. Tanmay, Dr. Shekhali, and Dr. Mitali to strengthen my homeopathy. My elder son Tarang, a businessman by profession, and his wife Tanya, a lawyer by profession, have been helping me to hold free homeopathic camps for the poor at Mahabaleshwar, Goa, etc., and done yeoman service to the mankind and homeopathy. My granddaughter Tanisha has been a source of recreations and a great stress buster in my hectic daily schedule. My younger son, Dr. Amrish, is all on the way to proudly carry on the flag of predictive homeopathy. As you all know, it was the it was he who was instrumental in predictive homeopathy getting the recognitions of the ECPD University of United Nations that has put a feather in the cap of all predictive homeopaths. His contribution to my clinic has helped me to more relax and devote much time to writing of the books. His wife Akanksha, an artist by birth and profession, is also a dynamic person. She has come into family only since 2 years, but taken into mental of the propagating right homeopathy by contributing to active management of the lectures, free camps, etc. I have mentioned and elaborated in my previous book the unforgettable, unfailable, and indispensable contributions of my wife Preeti. Her sweetness has inspired me to understand the naturalness in the nature, her tolerance to a workaholic or rather a homeopathy holic, as I may say so, is so immense that she does not mind me practicing in a clinic until 1:30 a.m. at night. And still, when I came home, she smilingly served me hot foods at 2 a.m., which is the mixture of the dinner and early breakfast. I do not imagine that I would ever be successful, learn, and experience so much of homeopathy if she would not have been so sweetly cooperative. She is taking care of my Sora. I am surviving because of her. The immense contribution to this book of Materia Medica is from the colleagues and all predictive homeopathy faculty members like Praveen Jain, Prafull Vijayakar, Bandi Sambani, Anita Salukes, Sunal Jadhav. In this book, a special role has been played by the ever so helpful Dr. Praveen Jain. He is the one who edged me on. He is the one who positively encouraged me to go ahead with this book of Materia Medica when I felt I should give up due to lack of time. His ability to encourage, his ability to organize everyone by assigning everyone a task and getting it done scrupulously, monitoring the progress and relentlessly working toward the completion and the achievement of our objective. Sacrificing his own successful practice has shown his love for true homeopathy. I acknowledge these great contributions from him. Dr. Prafull Vijayakar has consistently and diligently, as per his genetic trait, tried to remove the flaws and the mistakes in this literature by editing and re-editing his book many times. I acknowledge Prafull's effort for his cause. There are these young doctors, Dr. Misbah Kazi, Dr. Bhakti Kanade, Dr. Ishan Gandhi, who have hardly slept for a few hours and worked meticulously for this book for the last 2 months or so. They have not cared for food and water, but have sincerely sat through the 14 hours at a stretch daily for 50 to 60 days to contribute a lion's share in this book. Dr. Kavita Sawan, Dr. Bhakti, Dr. Deepali, Amit Panchal have also actively contributed to this book, not bothering about the loss of their own private practice. A young army of predictive homeopaths have been enthusiastically helping me conduct my clinic, making study of the cases, helping in relating the homeopathy to the modern advances in the science. These are the ones who helped me in our free homeopathic camp called Hope for Hopeless. They join me enthusiastically and help poor and needy with their knowledge. This helped our camp in getting fantastic, unbelievable results in children who are deaf, dumb, mentally retarded, and autistic. The cases where otherwise is quite a proper history is a far cry. This is the place where we develop a new technique of prescribing entirely on the genetic. This young brigade of full-fledged predictive homeopaths who helped me to understand the patient genetically are Dr. Lata, Dr. Jayesh Dave, Dr. Rajan Dubey, Dr. Hema, Dr. Pratidhi, Divya, Dr. Amruta, Dr. Bilal, Dr. Jagruti, Dr. Meehan, Dr. Khyati, Dr. Asif, Dr. Yagnesh, Dr. Dheeraj, Dr. Rasna, and Dr. Pooja. Dr. Jilari Kamda, Dr. Hedal Panchal, and Dr. Umesh Kuthari. The list is long and is getting longer. The young generation who want to do something for this right movement of homeopathy is increasing. This is the heartening affair. I take this opportunity to acknowledge and the contributions of these doctors and promise them that this effort of their will never be in a vain. From amongst my friend, Dr. Suchita Desai has always been a source of inspiration for all my drug-related and scientific theories. All my theories are discussed with her and her suggestion incorporated. It is she who brought out my first book with the dedications in my absence 10 years ago, from where the predictive homeopathy journey started. I cannot forget the effort of my friend Dr. Rashida, who has been standing like a rock behind me to get all my book printed and published in the right time. Her love for me and my family, coupled with her positivism, has made her accomplish the most difficult task in printing in record time. Love and affection from Suchita, Rashida, along with Dr. Satya, all my friends for 38 years, have kept me going through tough time to achieve higher and higher goals. I cannot forget to thank one of most senior homeopathy practitioners of the Maharashtra from Chinchwad, Pune, Dr. Katekari, who has been my guide in MD. His active participation in propagating right homeopathy at the age of 75 plus is a source of inspirations and a message to youngsters that homeopaths can never retire and can be open and adaptable to the knowledge and progress at any age. I cannot end my acknowledgement without highlighting and contributions to the two personality, Dr. Surmit Singh Mavi and Dr. Arun Basmi. Dr. Surmit Singh Mavi is a man possessed. He is a phenomenal. He is indispensable to any movement of the right homeopathy. His love and passion for spreading the right type of homeopathy all over India and especially northern and the central India has awakened the interest of homeopathic students who were either too helpless and dejected for the lack of proper guidance. Dr. Mavi, Dr. Daisy, along with Dr. Kamal and Dr. Didal traveled 2000 kilometers from the Jalandhar to the Mahabaleshwar to attend the and help every Hope for the Hopeless camps every 2 months. This speaks volumes of their dedication to this cause. Very rarely are such Messiah born, and looking at Dr. Mavi's work, I am sure Dr. Haneman must be feeling envious that he is not here to share the moment of the glory for his brainchild homeopathy. Dr. Arun Basmi is the Dean of Maharashtra University of Health Science, Principal of the Breed Homeopathic College, as well as the President of the Central Council of Homeopathy India. She has wholeheartedly supported the movement of the revising and standard homeopathy by arranging the huge seminar and conducting workshop on the predictive homeopathy. Doctors are not only ones who have helped me. Mayur Sonamane, who is like my third son, have been striving hard and working relentlessly toward the propagations of our work and organizing our activities. To him, we owe the success of our free Hope for Hopeless camp, seminars, and predictive homeopathy clinics. I am highly grateful to him, and last but not least, this book would not have seen the light of the day due to time constraint without the active, forceful, and timely cooperation given by Mr. Lalit Pawar, Mr. Raju Pawar, and proprietors of the magazine Mary Saheli and the New Woman. They allow us to use their artist and the printing setup at the 11th hour, making our ventures a success on this day. Both the brothers have tremendous love for homeopathy, especially predictive homeopathy, and have been actively engaged in taking the message of the right type of the homeopathy to more than 4.5 million people, which is their leadership in India. May the spirit of Hanuman bless them. And finally, thanks is due to the technical staff, Mr. Bhushan Vijayakar, who has designed the genetic-based logo of predictive homeopathy, the artists who have helped in the laying out the design of this book, Mr. Nishad Misri, Mr. Shashikant Pawar at the very short notice, and Mr. Pramod Sawant for printing this book in record time. To all these and many others who have contributed to my knowledge, experience, and those who have encouraged the spread of predictive homeopathy, I owe my sincere gratitude for working not for me, but for the truth and the Hanuman Dr. Prafull Vijayakar. So here we also are very grateful to this all the men who have contributed to made this book a read for us and giving us the wisdom of the sir, wisdom of the master, and the knowledge which apply in our clinical practice. So we are highly thankful to all of the mentioned name personality who have made this book for our reading. So what Dr. Vijayakar says that audace sapere, the dare to be wise. Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, the founder of homeopathy, who taught us that you should to be a very, very wise and to dare in prescribing to the patient. Now, this is very important to understand this book and reading why I am reading this acknowledgement and everything because whenever we are giving gratitude to everything, the nature will bless you the infinite knowledge from the cosmos. So that's why the gratitude is the best thing. And when you are reading someone's wisdom, always take a blessings and give a gratitude to them for giving us the insightful knowledge. The working of my teacher's brain, that means it is the things which was written by Dr. Prafull Vijayakar in the form how this book will help and how to read and understand this book. So the working of my teacher's brain and insight into how to read and understand this book. So we are starting with this book. It is a bomb. Yes, literally a bombshells, and you have it in your hand right now. If understood well, then it is sure to have a repercussions much, much more than any other discovery in the medical field. This is not only another book on Materia Medica, but a thoughts, an idea, a sequence of the evolutions of the homeopathy, which originated in the mind of our great master, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, pass into Dr. Bonimus and Dr. Herring, Dr. Allen, Dr. Kent, and Dr. Boger. I can undoubtedly say that though there are and have been thousands of homeopaths and the teachers of homeopathy across the world, very few have understood homeopathy as Hahnemann wanted, barring a few name mentions above. There have been many great homeopathic physicians who have been excellent teachers of Materia Medica, philosophy, repertory, and the likes. But touching the core and the soul of the Hahnemannian thinking is not an ordinary man's work. To practice a so-called a classical homeopathy, a single remedy, single minimum dose itself is difficult for many, but to practice homeopathy taking into considerations all the cardinal principles plus the Haring's law of direction of the cure in every case and every follow-up of every case, along with the applications of the miasm is tougher. Not only has Dr. Vijayakar done this, but he has gone beyond this to explain scientifically the significance of all the above essentials of the Hahnemannian homeopathy. He has tried to make homeopathy more scientific and remove it from the grab of being a mystic science practiced by any Tom, Dick, and Harry. Though predictive homeopathy, he has been working towards removing the uncertainties and the trial and error in the homeopathic practice and is in the process of realizing Hahnemann's dreams of making homeopathic practice a mathematical certainty. Footnote number 106, organ on 6th edition. Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, in his chronic disease, mentioned very categorically that his discovery of the chronic disease was much more important than even his discovery of the law of similia. This is very significant statement in this the sense that most of us would fail to understand that whereas many eminent homeopaths of today and yesteryears would not believe in miasm, why did the great master who is known for the discovery of the homeopathy rate the theory of chronic disease higher than the law of similia? He also doubted whether his follower would ever be able to understand the worth of his discovery of the origin of chronic disease, which he clearly mentioned in his preface to the theory of chronic disease. This mystery is exactly what Sir has been finally able to crack in the last more than 10 years of his pursuit of understanding of science behind homeopathy. If Dr. Vijayakar continue in the same manner, then I am sure he is well and truly on his way to sit in the league of all-time great of homeopathy. I have been associated with Dr. Prafull Vijayakar for last more than 15 years now. Right from my early college days, I have seen his love for homeopathy grow from Sora to syphilis. I have not witnessed any other homeopath who has understood and defended homeopathy not only as an art but also as a science in every way. He is addicted to homeopathy, and it is this pathological love that drives him. Many a time I wonder why Hahnemann was so much critical and abrupt to lesser homeopaths. Why would he not allow a little softer stand or a little concessions toward these people? The same attitudes I see in Dr. Vijayakar, just like Dr. Bogar, he always criticized the homeopath's lack of the knowledge for the sorry state of homeopathy all over the world. To understand any book, the thought or a philosophy behind need to understand for the maximum benefit to be reaped from whatever is given inside. Having given an insight into my perception of my mentor, I would like to throw some light on the book per se so that it helps the student and my junior to get the perspective to gain from this book. First and the foremost, this book need to be read in a tandem with Dr. Vijay Karsa's earlier book on homeopathy. So that's why I have concluded all the books. The first book, The Theory of Suppressions, wherein he explained the importance of the Haring's law of the cure of directions. The second part, The Theory of Acute, wherein he explained in detail the significance of the general thermal thrust and activity and how to elicit them, a practical problem faced by most homeopaths. And the third book, The End of My Assumptions of Miasm, wherein he tries to explain his understanding of miasm in the light of modern research in the field of medicines and the pathophysiology. The same he has to give in the condensed form in the beginning of this book, a brush up before he proceeds to talk about the different remedy groups of our materia medica. Beside the thermal thrust activity, he has here highlighted on the other big physical generals which should not be neglected, the side affinity of the remedy, for example, and the individuals. He has here so beautifully explained the scientific significance of the side effects and that it open a lot of this windows and makes us realize as to why the masters stress so much on the right or a left side affections of the various remedy like left-sided lacasis and the right-sided lycopodium. Miasm, do not read this book before reading the part 3 books. This is one thing that I would advise one and all. If you do not understand the concept of the miasm, the deeper and the better, then your understanding of the remedies as given in this book will be superficial. Approach to the different pathological cases. This is the A's in this book. This is where this book differ from all other books on the Materia Medica. This is the trade secret of Dr. Vijayakar's result in the grave pathological cases, which he has easily spread with everyone with the hope that more and more homeopaths deliver result in the deeper and deeper pathological cases, which more and more consistency. This is the end result of the year of thinking and correcting and retiring in cases that he failed, suppressed, or could not help. This is the most recent methodology that he used to tackle the difficult and the terminal cases that frequent his clinic. Mental, physical, and the general makeup. Many people think he is intuitive and God gifted in his perspective, description capacity, but he has always refuted it. Here he has tried to explain that he looks at when the patient first come in front of him. This cut short his time in the case taking and also help him double check the truth in the history taken by the assistant as he believes that the patient can lie but not his body. The combinations of all this is the grand finale, the genetic constitutional simillimum. It is the quite obvious that if care is taken in eliciting all the above mentioned points, then the remedy that is arrived at has to be the right constitutional simillimum. Now, if all these points on which the prescription is made are decided by our genes, for example, the physical generals and the mental makeup, our activity, our reactions, then this constitutional simillimum is automatically nothing else but the genetic constitutional simillimum. But eyebrows were raised and there was opposition from within the homeopathic fraternity itself to this term without ever an introspective thoughts. This is the innate characteristic of the most homeopathic physicians which need to be driven away to make a homeopathy the beautiful science it actually is. This man has a mission, and the mission is to get homeopathy its rightful place in the medical fraternity. He always tells me that homeopathy has given us a lot, and it has my turn to give back to the system something worthwhile. If we do not understand the real essence and the soul of this book, we will end up reading another book on Materia Medica and do not ourselves. And the thought behind this book, a lot of injustice if we do not realize its true potentials. It can change our destiny. Cases Dr. Vijayakar is a person who always swims against the current. His understanding of materia does not stem from the materia books. We read materia medica and apply it to our patients. He read patients and then apply it to our materia medica. He is the first a clinician and then a teacher. All his knowledge comes right from his clinic, so you will see that his understanding of the remedies will also have that big experience of his clinical practice of 30 years. Most of us learn from our failures. He learns from his successful cases as to how these persons improve and apply this knowledge to his failed cases, and they also improve. Through the illustrative cases, Dr. Vijayakar really gives us a thorough insight into his thinking while he is at work. not many gets the opportunity of working with sirs, and hence the practical cases given in the book will actually tells us a lot as to what goes into coming to the right remedy. It is not just about the rubrics and the materia medica, it is far beyond that. If we study the cases properly, then we would understand one, how to practically think of miasm in our cases, second, how we make mistakes in our understanding of the patient, third, why we fail, fourth, how we can correct ourselves if we fail, fifth, how to minimize our potentials and deliver results confidently and simply in pathological cases. Dr. Boger says things become simpler as one approaches perfections. Dr. Vijayakar says homeopathy is easy and mathematics. In the same way, I remember a quote someone asked me, why do you always take the harder road? I reply, why do you assume I see two roads? The road to the simplicity is the hard, but remember, simple roads may lead to nowhere. Ode sapere. I sincerely hope that the thoughts in these books are understood in the right light. You have a bomb in your hand which need to blast for a rightful cause. If the people understand the worth of this book, then there will be an unstoppable series of homeopathic blasts across the globe. The only way to blunt the lancet across the world is not to fight it, that is antipathy, but to grow stronger, that is the homeopathic way to cure. Aphorism number 26. This is Dr. Prafull Vijayakar who gives the insight about this book, the student of homeopathy. So this is something that I have made to understood this and idea about a simple idea about this book. So we continue from tomorrow the further reading of the preface and this book understanding so that we can understood this book and apply this practical knowledge of Dr. Vijayakar sir into our practice by understanding the his clinical experience and the Materia Medica. So hope you all have a good read. I'm see this the first day of a reading is always someone feels that it is a boring because it is something the introduction. So many a time when we start certain book, we always feel it is boring to read the preface, but preface gives the wonderful idea that what this book gives content. So we will continue this further from tomorrow and we will starting the understanding followed by I will put one few of my clinical experience and the cases in between understanding of the materia medica. So I will give you idea that how I apply this knowledge in my practice and I get a wonderful result. Certain cases which I will share along with the book reading so it will help you to understand and it will also help you that you apply this knowledge in your practice and you get the result. So thank you so much for today's sessions. We conclude the sessions today and we will continue from tomorrow. Thank you all. And if you have any queries and questions, you can share into groups. So if time permit, I will explain it to you in the sessions. And if possible, I will share in the group also. So thank you for being with me in the journey of reading the books because reading the books is nothing but it is the getting the wisdom of the master in us and installing into us and we are applying this knowledge into our practice. So thank you so much. Thank you all. Bless you all. God bless you, Master Hanuman. Bless you, abundance of knowledge. And Dr. Vijayakar from the Cosmos also bless you the knowledge so that you can evolve and you get the wonderful result in your practice. Thank you. Thank you so much.